And now, for the week of January 9th, 2006, Photoshop TV is on the air.
Welcome to Photoshop TV from the National Association of Photoshop Professionals. And here's your hosts, the Photoshop guys, Scott Kelby, Dave Cross, and Matt Kloskowski.
All right, welcome to another frightening episode of Photoshop TV. We're coming to you from the headquarters of the National Association of Photoshop Professionals. We're here in the graphics department where they produce Photoshop User Magazine. This week, Photoshop TV is sponsored by
Wacom, the makers of the world's first wide format graphics tablet. Go buy one at Wacom.com.
Don't just buy one, buy as many as you can afford.
And also brought to you by iStockPhoto.com, makers of the world's fastest growing collection of royalty-free photography, iStockPhoto.com.
And we're very excited to have a brand new sponsor this week.
What
Epson.
were they thinking?
What were they thinking? Epson and the Epson Print Academy are now sponsors of Photoshop TV, so we want to give them a hearty welcome, and I think you're really going to like them. You'll see why in just a little while, but you're going to really love Epson even more than you already do. If that's possible, welcome everybody. My name is Scott Kelby, and joining me are the other Photoshop guys representing Kansas, representing Canada, Dave Cross.
Good day, everyone.
And of course, as always, joining us, rocking the house key, is Matt Kloskowski.
Happy New Year.
Welcome back. Is that Molson there? A little Molson there for Dave Cross? Hey, welcome back, everybody. We've got a really great show. It's our first show of the year, but before we get into the tips and stuff, we've got huge, big news. Does news get any bigger than this?
I don't think
so.
Adobe just released a brand new photo workflow tool that is absolutely amazing.
And we have it.
We have it right here.
Yeah.
We're going to be showing it to you for the first time. You're going to get your first look at Adobe Lightroom. That's it. So take a quick look. No, we're going to actually, quick look over there. We're going to actually go ahead and do a little demo for you today of Adobe Lightroom. It's just absolutely amazing. And we're going to
got some inside tricks.
We got some inside tricks. Yeah, we got some good stuff. So stick around for that because we're going to do that today. But we've got, of course, lots of tips. Before we do that, of course, we have we're going to talk about our contest. So we have a great show planned for you. Let's get right to it. Mr. Cross has brought a tip, as you know.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and get started with
I'm going to start off with a little tip, a way to very effectively use adjustment layers to change the color of anything, and so you can easily change it anytime you want. Let's take a look. All right, so here we go. A simple way to easily change the color of something in a way where you can always change your mind. And I just have a document open, and we're just going to... Yeah, strangely enough, because if you don't have one open, the tip doesn't work so well. I'm going to go to the hue saturation adjustment layer, which will conveniently go way off the screen, so I can pull it in here like this. I'm trying to change the color of her top here, so basically I'm going to just pick the color I want, which of course is going to change the color of everything, temporarily that is. So now, there you go. That's the end of my tip. I have changed the color of her shirt.
Well done.
No, of course that's not the end because it's changed the color of everything.
Yeah, add some grunge.
Yeah, I need to grunge it up a little bit. But if you take a look at the adjustment layer, you'll see that it has a layer mask, and that layer mask is white, which is why everything's being affected. So all I'm going to do is fill that layer mask with black. And one simple way to do that is just press Command or Control I to invert the mask. And now we'll just take a paintbrush of some nature, and I'm just going to start painting. Wherever I paint with white, I will be revealing the color. Now, normally, of course, you would take much more time and do a much better job than I'm going to of painting. But basically, let's pretend now that we have completely finished painting her entire shirt. And the advantage of doing it this way is that any time you decide, well, that wasn't quite the right color, you just double-click on the adjustment layer. It brings it back, and then once again, we can change the hue. And now it's only affecting the area where we painted with white.
I love tutorials where you have to imagine.
Imagine. Well, I figured I could do it, but it would take me 17 minutes to finish painting. Of course, I could have done it also. Let me just show you, just to clarify that if you don't like painting, you could also have selected big areas and filled those with white. Not black as I did there, but basically that would speed things up a little bit. But use your vivid imaginations. Imagine I had done that, and you too can easily change the color of something. The great part about that kind of tip with an adjustment layer, it works for every adjustment layer, not just hue saturation, but anything. If you want to just lighten a little part of an image, do your overall levels, fill the layer mask with black, and then paint with white where you want to reveal the effects.
Excellent.
So there's my first little tip, and now we're going to go to Scott for part 1 of his epic 3-part tip.
An epic 3-part tip.
Channels.
Thank you, Dave. Before we start on the tip, I just want to give a thank you. About a month ago, I asked our viewers if they would share with me their ideas. I was writing a new book about channels called the Photoshop Channels book. That's it, the Photoshop Channels book. And at that time, I asked you to send in your ideas because I was getting ready to go to press. Hundreds of you sent in ideas, and I just want to thank you, number 1, for all the great feedback. Number 2 is some of your ideas made it straight into the book. So thank all of you so much for sharing your ideas. The book's already off on press, and it'll be out here in just a few weeks. So thanks so much. The technique I'm going to do is not actually ripped from the pages of the book, but it's very, very similar to one of the chapters in the book. And it's basically how to take a channel in your image and basically turn that into your mask. And I guess we should describe what a mask is. Basically, an intricate selection. So
right. Something would be hard to select with normal selection
tools. You don't want to
like
use the magic wand, or, as we call it, the tragic wand, or the lasso tool, or things like that. So that's what we're going to look at, is doing that in channels, building your masks. All right, first make sure your channels palette's open. That certainly helps if you're going to be masking with channels, to have your channels palette open. And the first thing we're going to do is look what is called the contrast channel. And that's the channel where the subject, in this case this woman with her hair kind of blowing in the wind, which makes, she's in a studio, you're wondering, why is her hair blowing? This has puzzled scientists for years.
Why?
Okay, why? We just don't know. It's just blowing. It's apparently a very windy studio.
That should be a tutorial.
That should be a tutorial unto itself. There's the, just look at the red channel, and you can see that her skin's pretty white, the background's pretty light. There is a contrast between here and there, but take a look at the next channel. See even more contrast. Her skin is darker, a little bit darker than the background in her hair. And look at the third one. Yes, folks, we have a winner. Her hair is the most dark. And what you want to do when you create this mask is you're going to create a mask that you want her to be completely solid black and the background to be completely solid white. Now, that's the way you'll build most masks, and in many cases you'll wind up with a photograph that won't work, where she needs to be completely white and the background needs to be completely black. In this case, there's so much black in her hair, we're almost ready to do it. But here's the thing. You don't want to make a mask out of this blue channel. In fact, you don't want to do anything to this blue channel. Let me tell you why. If we were to go, for example, let's just go ahead and open up levels, and I started adjusting this blue channel and making changes, you can see it actually affects the photo. We don't want to affect the photo, we just want to create a really cool selection, so that is not what we want to do, so undo that. Once you find out which channel is the contrast channel, you're just going to duplicate it. Just drag it right here to the new channel icon, and now you're working on a duplicate. This way, you do no damage to the image, you can make as many changes as you want, you can totally trash this channel if you want, and you will not affect your full color image. So remember, we're working on a channel. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to make her as dark as possible. So let me move the channels palette out of the way. There's a number of ways to do this. Number 1 is, of course, you could just go to levels again and just try to make her dark. You can just go in here and slide the shadow slider and try to make her a little dark. There's another way. Now, if you're used to using layers, right, you're probably used to using layer blend modes. And that is when you have 2 layers, remember, just duplicate the layer, and you've got all these blend modes here. So if you wanted to make her darker, you just choose multiply, right? You're probably used to doing that. And if you want to make the whole photo lighter, you'd choose screen, okay? You're probably used to doing that. The problem is, although that little pop-up menu exists in layers, if you go to the channels palette, there just isn't one. That's the problem. So let's go ahead and go to our blue copy, and I'll show you how to basically get the same thing. And that is to go under the image menu and go to apply image. What apply image does is lets you basically duplicate your layer. Let me pull it up here so you can see. So I'm basically making a duplicate of the channel, the blue copy channel. That's the one that we made. I'm going to do it in multiply mode, and just like a layer, I have an opacity. And you can see there's a little preview here. I'm going to toggle on the little preview button right here. You can see, look how much darker our mask got, and I'm trying to basically make her turn black. So look at that. From here to here, she goes from a grayscale image to, look at that, her hair is almost completely black. Now, in this case, we can get away with doing that once, but in some cases, you'll need to do it more than once. So this is basically the first step, is we've duplicated the layer, and then we need to make her as black as possible without making the background too black. Now, if this doesn't make any sense now, don't worry, it will by the end of the show. All right, so that's the first segment. In the second segment, we'll look at turning the rest of her into a mask. As you can see, we pretty much got it started, but it's just a starting place for a mask. We've still got a lot of work to do. Now, it's time for a tip from young Matthew. He's Nope. Just a tip from Matt Kowski.
All right, so I mentioned this earlier. I'm going to do the tip on creating that grungy texture. So it's very popular. You see it all the time. You see it on T-shirts, but you also see if you want to try to make an image fit onto a building that's got this weathered look or something like that. So what we're going to do here is, as you can see from the image I've got open, I've got 2 layers over here. I've got the building in the background. I've got the sign on top of it. I'm just going to drag that sign over onto that wood background there. Control T to free transform and just size it down a little bit. Hit the enter key and then we'll just drag it down over the wood. And then once I get it over the wood, I need to kind of make it merge into that background a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is, you see the lines in the wood here? Well, I need to bring those out in this image here. So I'm going to grab the rectangular marquee tool and I'm just going to draw a quick selection around these. Now, one of the things as I'm doing this tutorial is there's a tutorial very similar to this on layersmagazine.com. So I'm going to take you to a certain point where you could see it in that tutorial. But
so you ripped it off?
I kind of ripped it off. I kind of ripped it off from Scott Kelby and Felix Nelson because it was a down and dirty trick.
Oh.
Shh, don't tell Scott.
Don't worry, I won't tell him.
Okay, but the point here is I'm going to take it to a certain point and show you what you can do, and then I'm going to kind of expand on it a little bit. So. All right, so now I've got my selections around the wooden planks there. I'm going to go under my select menu. I'm going to choose feather and feather it by 2 pixels. And then I'm going to bring up levels. Make sure you got your sign layer targeted here. Control L for levels. And then just bring this output, just white on the output here, just bring that down to probably about 150 or so. Look what it starts to do to the image in the back. You can see a little bit of a black line there. So just click OK. Control D to deselect. And then change this blend mode to overlay and drop the opacity. And now you'll start to see the sign show through the wood there. So that's, the tutorial went on to do a couple ways of grunging this up. I'm going to show you my way of grunging it, which, you know, some may say might be better, but I wouldn't say that. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do, go to Edit, Fill. And this is going to bring open the fill dialog box. I'm going to change use to pattern here and go under my custom pattern picker here. Go to the flyout menu, choose texture fill 2, and I'm just going to append it. And in here you'll see one called sparse basic noise. So I'm just going to click that and click OK, and it filled up my entire layer. So what I'm supposed to do here is create a new layer before I do that. You guys didn't see that. Create a new layer before you do it, then fill it with that pattern. Okay, now we're going to add a mask to the sign layer. So just click the Add Mask button here and Alt or Option click on it, and that brings it up into the whole screen here. And what I want to do is, before I do that, is select all on the pattern. This is going great. My New Year's resolution, guys, is to actually rehearse my tips before I do them.
No, do them impromptu. These are going great.
All right. So before I do that, I want to select the entire pattern here. So go to that layer, Control A to select all, Control C to copy it, hide it. Then let's go to our mask and Alt click on it, and then just paste it onto our mask here. Now if we Alt click on the mask again, we're back to the original image. Let's zoom in here and you can see the final image here, and notice how we kind of got that grungy look to it. So it looks like it's faded into the wood here. If I shift click on the mask, you can see that's before and that's after. So if you ever want to add that grunge texture to a building or anything else, you can do it. Let's go now to Scott Kelby for part 2 of his masking tutorial.
Thank you, Matthew. When we last left our damsel with half a mask, she needed a lot of work, and so now we're going to go in and do the next part of the masking. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, in this part, we're going to set our foreground color to black, because remember, the goal is to make her black and that background white. So let's grab a paintbrush, and believe it or not, you're on a channel, right? No sweat.
I don't believe it.
We are on a channel. We're going to paint over, because what you're using this channel for is not to get her face. You're making a selection of the outside of her, right? So we can paint over the inside of her with impunity. I'm not going to make
I
you.
don't know what that means, but it sounds impressive.
Yeah, I'm not going to make you imagine though what it looks like Dave Cross does. I'm actually going to paint it in. Here we go. So I'm using a very large brush because obviously I don't want to take as much time. There we go. Now you go to a smaller brush for these areas over here. But the goal is basically to paint everything in black. Now when you get near the edges, what we were trying to create, what we're trying to keep is the detail in her hair, right? It's all about her hair. This stuff is easy. You can actually use the pen tool or whatever tool you're comfortable with. And let's go ahead and just make a, I'm going to click, hold, and drag right around her ear like this. Click, hold, and drag. Click, hold, and drag using the pen tool. All right, and I did a pen tool tutorial a few weeks ago, so we'll option click here or alt click on a PC, go right down her neck. See this stuff, this is the easy stuff. We're using the channel for the hard stuff, which is her hair. So once you kind of get all this stuff in, here's a little shortcut. Select all the other areas that don't matter, that are easy to select. Press Command Return on Mac or Control Enter on a PC and fill that with black. Now we can just go down here and get the little areas we missed down bottom. And we've pretty much got the black part of the mask done. Now we're going to have to worry about the white part. Well, one of the ways we can get rid of the white part is let's go ahead and bring up levels. And what you're going to do is just get the highlight dropper over here and click in a gray area like that. And it sets that gray area to white. Now we can go down here a little further. You don't want to go too far, you're going to destroy. You notice how you lost some hair detail up there? So just press Command Z or on PC Control Z. You don't want to go too far, but you can brighten it a little bit, trying to clean up those areas. And you can see now we're pretty much on our way to what I was talking about earlier, which is having a mask that the subject is black and the background is white. You can see there's still some light gray areas there, and I'm going to show you how to get rid of those and finish off this mask in the next segment of this tip. In the next step, we will clean up the mask a little bit and, of course, load the selection, turn the channel into a selection. I don't know why I'm looking over there. There's people offset.
Hi, Scott.
Hi, Matt. Hey, Matt, we're going to load the selection and then build a composite after that. But sitting just offset is Matt Glaskowski, who's rocking the house key with the latest Photoshop news.
All right, it is indeed time for the news. Thank you for the sound effects, fellas.
There's a theme, a news theme.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the big news this week is Adobe released a new product called Lightroom. It's actually a public beta, which means you're not paying for it yet. You're actually just testing the software out, but it's a really cool program. We're going to have some more information on it later in the program. It is Mac only first. It'll eventually be released for Windows, but it's Mac only now. You can go to photoshopuser.com and look for the Lightroom Learning Center.
Excellent. All right, well, thanks. Now I'm going to pick up where I left off on my alpha channel tip that just wouldn't die. Okay, as you can see, she's still not masked. All right, remember, we want to make this background white here. So what you can do is you can just kind of grab a big paintbrush and get rid of all this stuff. Or you could, of course, to make it even quicker, you could do the Dave Cross trick, which is make a big selection around these areas and just fill them with white.
Just imagine it's white.
Just imagine it's white. Okay, pretend this is done. No, it's a Julia Child School of Cooking. It's done. Okay, so now we've got these areas around the head. Now, I want to maintain as much edge detail as I can. One trick you can use is to get the paintbrush tool, go up here to the options bar, see where it says normal? You want to choose abnormal. No, you want to choose overlay. Look, that actually got a laugh from Larry. Okay, so what you want to do is in this overlay mode, you can kind of paint right up against here. Notice how it keeps most of the detail there. Now you want to do it in the hair here. You'll lose a little bit of detail if you do it in the hair. So you want to kind of not overdo it there. But see how I kind of wiped that little area away? A couple of clicks in here. We are going to lose a little bit of that hair, but I have a trick to bring most of that back a little later. Okay, so there's the basic mask. And of course, this is a basic tutorial, so let's do it basically. I'm also going to grab, let's go back to normal here. I'm going to grab a hard brush just for those edges at the bottom because they look a little ratty. See down here, part of her, oh, nice. Be nice if you paint in black, it makes a big difference. There we go. Just there we go, get that. Now, once you've got this all pretty much done, and again, we've done a very basic quick mask. There's a lot more to masking than this, but this is just kind of an intro start. Go ahead and invert the mask. Use that keyboard shortcut that Dave Cross used earlier. Command I to invert it, or Control I on PC. Once you do this, you can see some areas that are still missing. So let's switch to white, and you can go in here and kind of just do a little cleanup. You can call this fine-tuning the mask or cleaning it up a little bit. Either one of those words will suffice. Either fine-tuning or cleaning it up.
Or painting with white.
Or painting with white is also a good one. But you can see what our goal was. There, that little there. Okay, once you've got this, you pretty much can do this. Let's bring it back here. All right, we're going to hold the Command key or on PC the Control key. Click on the channel to load it as a selection. And you can see we have a selection here. Now you're going, boy, it's missing a whole lot of her hair. It's missing a bunch of it. Well, because of the way selections work, you don't see all that it's selected. So don't let that throw you off. Just go ahead and copy that. We'll choose copy. Then we're going to open up a background. Now when I paste it, we won't be done. We're still going to have to do a little bit more. But here's a background. We're going to put her at the beach here. Well, let's go ahead and hit paste. And she pastes right in there. And you can see a lot of her hair is still pretty well in place, but we can do a little bit more to this. One other little trick you can use is to go under the layer menu, go all the way off to the very bottom and choose fix her hair. No, see, I can say anything because you can't see because it's off screen. But what you're going to choose is remove white matte. So go under the layer menu under matting and choose remove white matte.
Hey!
And, oh, sorry, nothing
matte.
personal,
He
matte.
doesn't want to be.
Okay, and you can see how much hair it brought. See how it brought hair back that was gone. See, but it keeps a lot of that nice hair detail in there. And again, you have a little bit right here. There's another couple tricks you could use. Of course, to get this last little bit, you can just use the eraser. You can go right in there and get rid of these little areas if you like. You can use the pen tool to trim that a little bit, or you could go back and adjust your mask, but that goes way beyond what we're going to talk about in this particular episode. But that's just a basic introduction on how we use masks. Of course, there's a lot more to it than that, but I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of the power of using channels for masking. Now, it's time for the part that everyone's been waiting for. The big giveaway? No, it's time to look at Adobe Lightroom. This is big time stuff.
It is very big news.
It's going to change the way photographers work in a big way, and there are so many exciting things about it. We want to give you the first look here on Photoshop TV.
Right.
And so, let's do it.
Let's do it right now, with no further ado.
Right now, here we go. All right, here's a look at the basic interface of the thing, and this is what I love best about it is they basically made your photos the star of the show, and everything else is kind of off to the side. Now, right now you see all these palettes and stuff, and you're thinking, how is it making your image? That's going to become
very simple.
Yeah, it's going to become clear in just a minute because they've done some really very inventive things. The interface to this thing absolutely kicks butt, so that's what I think you're going to really like about this. Basically, what they've done is your images are here in the middle. It does kind of a library thing. If you use the bridge, it kind of looks familiar. You can rate your images and rotate them and all that stuff. So I'm not even going to go through that. Down bottom is a film strip of all of your images, so you can always get to them no matter which of these different modules you're working on. You can see there's 4 different modules: the library, develop, where you basically process your images. There's a slideshow and print, and we're going to touch on all those real quickly. And again, this program does so many cool things. I'm just going to be able to just basically touch on it. But here we go. Over on this left side, you'll see there's all kinds of presets and cool stuff. To get images into Lightroom is pretty easy. There's an import button, and the reason why I want to click on the import button is basically this. Let's just grab some images here.
Beer folder.
Beer folder is Molson. Here we go. This is what I want to show right here, and this is huge. When you go to import photos, it lets you reference photos already on your drive.
Ooh.
So you don't have to lock them in a database or anything like that. And this is one of the huge things that's great about this. I mean, of course, you can move the things into the Lightroom library if you want. You can copy your photos as a DNG. But most importantly, I think, is that you can use the photos that are already on your drive and start editing them immediately. And you can add all your copyrights and stuff, all that stuff. You can add it right here, however I spell my name.
I like Kelston.
Oh, that's nice. It's Finnish. Okay, we're going to hit cancel. I'm not going to import a bunch of photos, but when you do import them, they come into these little chutes, and I've got some chutes already over here, some different things, and basically you can think of them as kind of just sets of your photos. We've got some shots of Adobe's headquarters here, and some of New Orleans, and some violins and things like that. So now, I talked about the working area, and that's what's really cool about this. So we're in this first part, the library, which is basically where you organize all your photos. If you want to look at a particular photo, just double-click, and it kind of takes center stage. If you want to zoom in on any particular part of the photo, you just move your cursor over it and click, and it zooms right in on that part of the image. Now,
very fast too.
Yes, it's incredibly fast. Now, this doesn't just work with raw images. This is basically works with PSDs, it works with TIFFs, it works with JPEGs. This is a JPEG I'm working with right here.
Illustrator files?
No. Not Illustrator files. Okay, nice try. So you zoom in and out. Right now it's at the 1-to-1 view. All right, now, so I've got my palettes and controls over here on the left, and I've got my adjustments here on the right. Now, when I said, it can put your image center screen. If you hit the letter F, it makes it a little more center screen. You notice it kind of just took over your screen. If you hit the letter F, it takes over even more of your screen, or in this case, it doesn't.
It's nice.
Oh, I'm just so good at there. There we go. Thank you. Hit F again, and it takes over even more.
Just hit F until things go
just hit
away.
F until things look really good. Okay, now, don't you just love live TV? So, here's where it gets even better, and now it's going to get into my crazy happy stuff.
I hope so.
If you press Tab, just like in Photoshop. Here, your image is in the middle. Now, okay, well, you're thinking, wow, Photoshop does that, but no, this is where it gets really cool. I want to make adjustments to this image now. If I move my cursor over to the other side, the palettes just pop right back
now
out.
I'm thinking, why doesn't Photoshop?
No, see, you're coming around. Go to the other side, pow! It pops right back out there. So now you're really focused on the image, and that's one of the coolest things about this is all the focus is on your photography. It's not on everything else, and things get out of the way when you want to.
Yet the film strip is still there at the bottom, so if you need to jump to another image real quick, you can
that is unless you press Shift-Tab. And then boom, it's even bigger, and your image basically is insane size, but you still have this little pop out. Now, can I show you something else cool?
I would love to.
You see that little like flippy arrow over there?
Flippy, yes.
I call it the flippy arrow. Right now, if you move over there and move back, it goes away. But if you hit the flippy arrow, it locks it into place, and now it'll stay there. So it kind of conforms to the way that you want to work. And same thing on the other side.
Thank goodness for flippy arrows.
Thank goodness for the flippy arrows. All right, and you can bring back the other palette too. We'll just hit Tab, get us back to where we were.
If you'd like to know where to find those, just go to Adobe's help documentation under flippy arrows.
Under flippy arrows, search for flippy arrows. Okay, so there are some also other controls, but I got to show you this next thing. This is another one of my favorites. I have all my little favorites here. One is
now.
Yeah, hit the L key, okay, and it dims the interface. Okay, but here's the cool thing. The interface is still back there. You can still like change images and do things and make adjustments inside the image.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I'm not going to make adjustments because I don't want to ruin this photo. But there, if you wanted to make adjustments, but it gets even better. If you hit L again, it goes to crazy mode. No, it goes to lights out. So we had dimmed, and now we're at lights out, where it's just your image. The controls are back there. You can still access things if you go to the sides, but it's right there. So that's the letter L does that. So that's just some of the interface things. I got to show you one more thing, and I promise to move on because there's so much more to show. This is what's killing me about this. There's so many cool things in here. We're only going to get to show you
just a quick,
because this is what a first look.
It's first look.
If you want to learn more, we're going to tell you where to go and learn more here in just a few minutes.
Lightroom TV.
Well, this episode is, and we're going to be throwing a little Lightroom stuff here in the show in the future too. All right. Compare. This compare mode is really, really cool. What it'll let you do is, let's say you want to look at a couple of different images and decide which ones you want. You just hold the Command key, and all of a sudden you're comparing which of these do I like the best. And I love the little animation stuff that are built in. If you go, you know what, some of these are out of place. This one's out of place. You just Command click, and they go away, and you can get down to. So, you know what this does? This product, in general, fixes one of the biggest problems that we have in digital photography today, and that is sorting your images, getting to the images that you want. Then you can go and have the fun and edit in Photoshop. Right. It kind of fixes that bad part up front that takes the fun out of digital photography. This adds it right back in. All right, the develop part of this is where the really power of this program takes place. Let me go up here to the library, and we'll grab a photo down here. Whee! And there we go. That helps if you. No, you have to make that noise yourself. It's one of the few things this program lacks. All right, we'll head over to develop. And now we're actually going to work on the photograph. Over here, your controls are on the right. And what's cool about it is, what you have over here is basically, think of Adobe Camera Raw, everything that's in Camera Raw, and then extend that and add more. That's what's here. So you have all the Camera Raw stuff. You can see all the white balance stuff. All that stuff's here. But then you've got these tone curves. You've got a split toning, you've got a great grayscale mixer, all these other things that go above and beyond what Camera Raw already does. You've also got these one-click presets. So for example, if I wanted to make this guy grayscale, you can just click on the grayscale conversion, and of course you can save your own presets. This is one that comes with the application. You can make your own. This one is does a nice grayscale conversion. It actually does the LAB lightness channel, the luminosity channel, to make your grayscale conversion. Now, once you've got that, let's take it a step further. Remember I said down here, they've got a great grayscale mixer and another little algorithm here to give you a different grayscale. Now you can go in here and not just tweak the RGBs, but you can go into the reds, the yellows, the greens, the cyans, the blues, magentas to create your own custom grayscale looks. That's very, very cool. Of course, once you start moving the sliders, the auto button goes off because it's no longer automatic. Now you're doing it. So that's kind of cool. You can do just incredible black and white images out of here. And actually, but that's not my favorite part of this section. It's got all the stuff from Camera Raw, as I said, but I'm going to slide over here and grab another photo and show you my very favorite grayscale cool tricky. It's about right there. Let's open up this image. All right, I want to make it grayscale, so we'll hit our little preset over here. All right, and then we go over here, and here's what I want to do. Oh, we'll hit auto too, just make it all nice. I'm not going to tweak it a lot more, but what I'm going to do is do the split toning. What split toning allows you to do is is maybe add blue to this, a little bit of blue tint to the sky, and a little sepia tone down bottom in the shadows. Here's a little trick though. When you move the sliders, they have the color behind it, but you really can't see it. The trick is hold the Option key, and it pretends that the saturation's up at 100%. So that way you can see up there, okay, there's some blue. Let go of the Option key, then you decide how much blue that'll actually get.
Nice. That's a real useful trick.
Yes, it is. Option, click, and now we'll do the shadows. You can choose your sepia tone, kind of tone there. Let go, and then we can decide what our saturation is going to be.
Really, in general, if you have a slider, you might want to try Option clicking on it.
Yeah.
Because you never know what.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about my color there. But anyway, so, and now, if you just set the split toning thing, of course, you could go and add a preset right now.
That'd be a great
and create your own.
kind of thing.
Okay, so I'm giving you the tip of the iceberg of this, but just think everything in Camera Raw and then some all-in-one dialogue. Just sweet, sweet, sweet. Now let's head over to Slideshow.
Hey, Scott, just before you do, I think it's worth noting that all that stuff in the develop mode is very non-destructive, just like Camera Raw or using adjustment layers. So it's very easy to make any changes and then come back and not worry about
non-destructive editing is not brand new. It's been around a while.
This takes it to a whole nother
level.
level.
Yeah, it's called Camera Raw and adjustment layers and smart objects. That's okay. All right, here we are in Slideshow. I'm not going to go through all the Slideshow stuff. It does a really cool slideshow, and it gives you more control over your slideshow than most. You've got strokes around your borders, and you cast shadows, and you can put photos behind them automatically dim. It's got this little thing down here, the identity plate, that's kind of cool. I just want to show you one thing, and I promise to move on because I know we're running out of time. Okay, we're way out of time, but it's down here. It's called the identity plate. Where is it, guys? I'm missing it here. There. Nope. Where is it? There it is. Show identity plate.
We're all looking
Nicely done.
It's in the big obvious part that says.
It's in the obvious part. So I'm going to go up here. See where it says Adobe Lightroom up there? All right, what you can do is not only can you replace that with your own name here, so you put your own name right in there, and we're going to hit Enable Identity Plate, and look, boom, see? It's not, because what Adobe wanted to do was make this your darkroom, your studio, so you can actually put your own name up there. You can put a graphic up there if you want instead. You can control the other fonts up here so they all match. So I'm not going to go into that. But if you have that, you can also use it in your photo. So you can have it print out with your slideshow or be visible on screen. There's all kinds of things you can do with the Identity Plate. It's just one little cool thing.
You're showing it to a client, that's cool because it looks like it's your program.
It is.
Yeah, it looks like your program, exactly.
Customized.
So I'm going to leave it up there. It's just a visual reminder of who I am. Okay, that's me. All right, lastly is the print module. All right, now we're on to the print module. Honestly, this is as cool as the rest of the program because people have problems with printing. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And this just makes it so easy and so neat. It is the most intuitive, coolest layout I've ever seen for printing. First, there's these templates over here on the side, which are really great. But besides that, for example, you can add more photos. Like, for example, we're at page 1 of 1. If you hold the Command key and click on another photo, it adds the photo. And if we go to like maximum size, check this out. It puts
4 pages.
Yeah, 4 pages as big as it can print them on the paper that you have selected. Look at this, 7 pages, 8 pages, 9 pages. You can just go on and on. The fun never ends. Now, they have these built-in templates, so if you want to create a contact sheet, just boom, you click. It's a contact sheet. Want a 5x8 contact sheet? Boom. Look how fast everything just zooms on it. And here's another nice little thing. You see that there's white space around all the sides? They have this little option called Zoom and Crop to fill grid cells. And look how it just crops them right up. For example, go over to this 4 wide and look at that. It's like almost a poster ready to go. See, that's what it would normally
crop. You can reposition if you don't like the positioning of one of those photos. You can reposition it within that cropped area, which is also very useful.
Very, very useful. So there's a lot of cool things here. You can build your own templates. There's so many cool things here. I can't even show you them all because I just don't have the time. But this is one of the printing here is just, it's done right. The way you can just add cells and change the cell heights and add however many cells you want, the spacing between cells, how many rows, how many columns. I mean, it's just finally done just right. Now, I got to leave you with one last thing. I got to run back over here. Let me grab a photo. Let's grab a photo. Actually, the photo I want to grab is from the library here. I want to grab one of these shots. These are some shots from Adobe's headquarters. I want to look at this particular shot right here because this is one of those things, how about this one right here, that just kind of tends to blow people away. This is actually a courtyard at Adobe's headquarters. It's the courtyard between, I think that's the North Tower, and that's like the West Tower, or it could be the East Tower. It's one of those towers, just a couple towers. Here's the courtyard, all right? Now, here's the thing. if you go down here, you'll see all the XF data is down there. There's tons of XF data. Well, this was taken with a Nikon D2X that has the newest, hottest, cool thing, which is this GPS control. All right, so this camera has the GPS. It has the GPS coordinates of where the shot was taken. So if you go down here and double click on the GPS coordinates, it launches your web browser, takes you to Google Maps, and actually shows you a photo of exactly right there is where the photo was taken. The exact. Cool. I know. This is one of those ones you just show people just to blow them away. Like you bring your client, go, oh, you want to see that where that was taken? You blow it up, and your client passes out. And while they're passing out, they're grabbing their checkbook. So that's just one of those really, really cool things. There are so many things, guys. We're just touching on the very surface of what this is. I want to send you a couple of places to learn more. You got to go to the photoshopuser.com to our learning center. We are posting a learning center today that has videos from myself, from Dave Cross, from Matt Rockin' the Housey Klaskowski, also you got to go to what is it?
Blogs.adobe.com.
Blogs.adobe.com/jnack.
Yeah.
Go to John Knack. He's the Photoshop product manager. He's going to be writing about this tomorrow on his blog. He's got a great blog. Go there tomorrow and check it out. Of course, we'll have the link to John's blog on our site, as well as the links to the Resource Center. And again, I just want to say what's really, really cool about this and what I think is amazing is, remember, you're just looking at the first beta. This isn't a shipping product yet. This is a free one that you download and test. And this is just the beginnings of the program that you, the end user, actually are going to wind up playing a significant role in developing. You are going to be part of the development process for this particular product.
So don't just download it and go to the forum and add your comments and suggestions.
Yeah, because it's your comments and ideas that are going to wind up being in the final shipping version. So
hey, don't forget to, thanks to iStock Photo for many of the photos.
Yes, thanks to iStock Photo and thanks to our friends at Adobe for providing me with this wonderful shot of their courtyard. And of course, although the Mac version is out now, the beta of the Mac version, there will be, of course, a Windows version coming. We don't exactly know when, but someday soon. So go download that from adobe.com. And of course, all the links that we mentioned on today's show, where are they at?
They will be at photoshoptv.com, so you can always go there and go to whatever we mentioned
and
today.
Make sure that one of the things you go to is the Photoshop user website, where we're going to have a link to our Lightroom resource pages.
That's right. We've got videos and articles and interviews and all the latest information on Lightroom.
It's crazy how much there is.
It's crazy. Okay, a couple things before we wrap up. Of course, we've got the contest time.
Yeah,
so
forget the contest.
First, we're going to see who won last. Now, the last one we gave away the book bag, that really nice book bag, and there was an upgrade to Photoshop
upgrade
in
to
there,
CS2 for Windows. And
what else?
The autographed book by
autographed
Mr.
signed
Dave
copy
Cross.
of Dave's help desk book.
Right.
So, the winner to that, and I wrote this down, Dave's not going to read it.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, first I guess we got to give the question, because we always forget that.
Oh, what was the question? What was
the question was, where in Photoshop do you find an option called Count Jitter? And the answer...
Count Jitter.
The answer, anybody want to take a stab at it?
No. Brushes something.
Brushes
no.
something.
It's in the brushes palette under scattering. So that's where you find the option called Count Jitter. Congratulations to Melissa Baskett. She's an advertising coordinator in San Diego, California.
Good job.
So congratulations, Melissa. Dave will send you the book bag and his autographed book and
copy.
All that stuff.
We hope you use Windows, because what's coming to you is a Windows upgrade to CS2. All right. What about this week?
Well, let's reiterate the prize.
Let's get the prize here. Hold on. Beers. No, that's not it. Here we go.
Oh my goodness.
Ah, the Epson.
You guys need help?
Stylus. Courtesy of our brand new sponsor, Epson, and the Epson Online Academy, the Epson Print Academy as well.
Right.
Thanks
so I guess
to
we need
Epson.
a question for that.
We need a question around that, and the Adobe Cooler Bag, which is somewhere.
And the software.
And the software, it's worth,
prize.
altogether it's worth 28,000. It's worth a lot.
It's worth a lot of money. So, the question that you must answer.
How many beers did you drink today?
Zero.
How many times did the drinking game get you today?
No. Let's get to the question now. The question is, what key do you hold down so you can scroll your view while you're using either the lasso or the pen tool?
Escape.
And send your answers to Matt.
PhotoshopTV@photoshopuser.com. And you guys laugh at me when I say this, but number one, only one submission. And also, email these in by January 13th at noon. And you ask why I say that?
Why do you say that?
I say that because today I just got 2 answers for the contest that was on November 7th. So that's why we have to have a date.
When you say noon, is that noon in France, or is that noon on the East Coast of the United States?
Eastern Standard Time.
There you go.
So.
All right, so that's where you can always contact us and reach us by going to photoshoptv.com.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we have this week's question. Also, I just want to make a mention that we are going to be broadcasting live from Photoshop World. If you want to come down to Photoshop World, it's in Miami. It's the world's largest gathering of Photoshop people. Teaching classes there will not only be Dave Cross and Matt, I'm rocking the Houski Kloskowski, and myself, and 30 of the other Photoshop people in the world, the cool people, you know, like Deke and Katrine Eisman and Ben Wilmore, and a bunch of great photographers and a host of other people. Go find out more at photoshopworld.com, and we hope to see you there because we'll be there broadcasting live from Photoshop World Miami, March, I think, 22nd through 24th at the Miami Beach Convention Center, right there on South Beach. I'm sure there'll be no beer whatsoever there. So you'll be able to continue the Rockin' the House Ski drinking game there.
It's all
with
learning.
us. All learning for the sake of beer. Okay, anything else? Oh,
we have a to-do list.
We have a to-do list. We have 3 things that we need you to do between now and then. We've got 3 projects for you. Matt, what's the first project this week?
The first project is to go to Adobe's website. It's too long of a URL. Just go to photoshoptv.com and get the URL. It's their customer views for Photoshop. And there's actually, it sounds kind of silly, but there's actually some pretty cool stuff on there, some insight to a lot of
I've seen them.
industry
cool.
professionals in Photoshop. The other one is to go to layersmagazine.com. On the homepage is a link to that same tutorial that I did earlier today, the one that I stole from somebody. And but what you can do is go to layersmagazine.com, finish the rest of the tutorial. I kind of took a different spin on it, so you can do the rest of it at Layers Magazine.
Excellent.
And
lastly, go to our Lightroom resource learning page. Go to photoshopuser.com, or of course the website, where you can get a direct link to learn all about Adobe Lightroom, all the new stuff about that. We've got tutorials from us all, articles, news, lots more stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching our first full-length Back to the New Year episode. On behalf of myself, Scott Kelby, and Matt Kloskowski.
Thank you very much.
Rockin' the Houski, and all of you who've been playing the Rockin' the Houski drinking game along with us at home. And on behalf of Dave Cross.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you guys for watching Photoshop TV. We'll see you next week.
Can't do it.